Hey. Well, welcome to our Tuesday Talent Series here with the Fort Collins Area Chamber of Commerce. We are very excited. Today's session is Fair Chance Hiring. It benefits employers and the community. We have two wonderful speakers on this topic and passionate advocates in this work. And so Claire Callaway is a passionate advocate for fair chance hiring and reentry support, currently serving as the Reentry and Earn Program Manager at Homeward Alliance. In this role, Claire leads initiatives supporting individuals transitioning from incarceration and homelessness. With a strong background in workforce development and social justice, she partners with employers to create inclusive hiring opportunities that help justice-impacted individuals regain stability and dignity through meaningful employment. Claire is dedicated to removing systemic barriers and creating pathways for success, both for individuals and the businesses that hire them. And our second speaker today is Mindy McGrath. Haehre. Mindy is an HR leader with a global career spanning workforce strategy, leadership development, and inclusive hiring practices. Having lived and worked internationally, she has seen how employment systems shape opportunity and believes work should be a source of dignity and equity for all. New to the fair chance hiring movement, Mindy is passionate about bringing her HR expertise to a cause that aligns with her values. With a strategic mindset and a people-first approach, she's excited to help employers create pathways for justice-impacted individuals while driving business success. So we're excited to have both Claire and Mindy here, and we'll let you guys take it away. So stop sharing my screen here.
Awesome. Thanks, Yvonne. Okay, let me pull up my screen. Okay. All right, can you see it okay? Okay. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today to discuss fair chance hiring. Mindy and I believe this is a really important conversation, as we believe that everyone should have the opportunity to work, and that includes those with a criminal record. Yeah, so let's just get started. So Yvonne already did an amazing job of giving us some introductions, but just again, my name is Claire Callaway. I work for a local nonprofit called Homeward Alliance, and I work to serve individuals access employment who otherwise are experiencing barriers. So again, really excited to have this conversation. Mindy, do you want to share anything further? Oh, you're on mute. Mindy, you're on mute. Mindy, can you guys hear me okay? Okay.
I had myself on mute, so I apologize. No, I think everything's been said, but very excited to be here today and to work with Homeward Alliance and to spread the message about fair chance hiring.
Awesome. I do want to note that we do have a Colorado State University's College of Business logo on here as well, because Dr. Chris Henley, she's a professor with the College of Business, helped develop this presentation. She often co-presents with us as well, but she couldn't make it today. But just want to give a shout out to her and the College of Business in general. Okay, so here's a look at the flow of our presentation today on fair chance hiring. So we're going to start with a quick icebreaker activity to get everyone kind of grounded in the topic. Then we'll move into the foundation. So we'll be defining what fair chance hiring is, followed by a discussion of the benefits it offers, not just to individuals, but also to employers and the wider community. After that, we'll dispel some of the common myths surrounding hiring individuals with justice involvement. Next, we'll cover some HR best practices to help you feel more confident and prepared if you decide to take the step forward toward fair chance hiring strategies. And finally, we'll wrap up by talking about how Homeward Alliance can support your efforts and why partnering with us could be a win-win. Okay, so we're going to start out with a short interactive activity. So here's how it's going to work. If you're comfortable, I'm going to ask people to participate, and I'm going to ask everyone to start by turning off their camera for now. I'm going to read out a few statements one at a time. And if that statement resonates with you, if it's true for you, go ahead and turn your camera on. If it doesn't resonate with you, just leave your camera off. And if you don't want to participate, you can just leave your camera off as well. I just want to give a disclaimer. Some of these statements might feel a little personal. So yeah, so just go at your comfort level. Okay, so turn on your camera if this statement rings true for you. I did something really, really stupid by the age of 23. Okay, thank you. So 1/3 of Americans have a criminal record by the time they're 23. Feel free to turn your camera off now. I've driven a car while under the influence of alcohol and 1 drink counts. Okay, thank you. I have somehow escaped the full consequences of some of my biggest mistakes. Awesome. Thank you. I've done criminal things for which I could have been arrested for, but wasn't arrested for. That it could be drunk driving or smoking weed before it was legal in Colorado, or even Wi-Fi squatting. Awesome, thank you. I have felt the need to physically defend myself. Okay. I feel ashamed of some part of my past. Thank you. There are some things I haven't forgiven myself and may never forgive myself for. Thank you. I am willing to understand and support people who are different than me. Yay. Thank you. And the last statement here is, I am looking forward to working with the community we are creating together today. Awesome. Thank you so much. So I appreciate you all going through those with me. And I just want to just give an opportunity if anyone wants to share any reflections on that activity, you can put it in the chat, or if you can unmute yourself too, if you want to just share any reflections on that, any takeaways.
I did want to say in the chat, Jordan wrote, I wish I could participate. I have to have a camera off for today. Thank you. Just so you know.
Oh, no problem. I actually can't see the chat, I just realized. So if there's anything else, Yvonne, if you could let me know.
Ed wrote, nobody's perfect and nobody's alone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We all make mistakes, and some of us get caught, or some of us are more strongly penalized depending on their situation and what the mistake was. So it's important to reflect on that. Yeah, again, thanks for your participation. So let's move into talking more about fair chance hiring. So historically, many companies have automatically screened out applicants with a criminal record. I'm sure you've likely seen this. Maybe your company that you work for is already doing this. And while I do understand that approach, I do want to introduce a new one, and one that's gaining momentum across industries, and that is fair chance hiring. So what is fair chance hiring? Well, it's a practice that ensures that individuals, regardless of their record, are given a fair and equal chance at employment. If it's about hiring based on qualifications rather than the criminal history alone. And it ultimately provides a fresh start and a chance for individuals to prove themselves and make a positive contribution to their employer and the community at large. Now, I really want to be clear that this does not mean hiring someone who's unqualified, and it's not about taking risks, but rather fair chance hiring is about shifting the focus to someone's future potential rather than just their past mistakes. So Brian Stevenson is pictured here. He's an amazing civil rights attorney, and he's the founder of the Equal Justice Initiative. And he has this really powerful quote that says, "Each of us is more than the worst thing that we've ever done." Now, I'd really like for that to sink in for a moment. Imagine being defined forever by your lowest moment. Because that is the reality for millions of people with a record, no matter how much they've grown or how qualified they might be today. So fair chance hiring challenges the story that someone's just a criminal or just their background. And it really gives people the opportunity to write a new chapter in their story about where they're going from here and what they have to offer now. So with that foundation in mind, let's talk about the benefits of fair chance hiring. Because it doesn't just support certain job seekers, it can be a game changer for your company too.
All right. So we're going to start looking at the benefits of fair chance hiring and why it matters. It could be just not only a morally great choice, but strategically great choice for your company. So move on. So first, what we're going to look at, and one of the main benefits, is it really reaches an untapped labor pool. We're always talking about talent shortages, but oftentimes we're overlooking talent that's already there. So there's 79 million Americans with a criminal record. So roughly that's like 1 in 3 adults. So it means if you're in a room of 30 people, statistically 10 of them are going to be carrying a record. So it's not just a niche group. It's often a massively underutilized and overlooked workforce, one with potential, skill, and the desire to work, but they're often locked out due to stigma or policy. So every year, 650,000 people are released from incarceration. So that's like roughly the population of Denver every year re-entering our communities. And, we really have to ask ourselves, can we be ready to offer them a path forward? Ignoring this population is a missed opportunity. And, we know we have a tight labor market, and, let's maybe think of a new strategy and look at these people for our labor markets. Okay, on to the next. So in Northern Colorado, we're growing. I think all of us know this. We see all the different housing areas coming up. Our traffic is increasing. And our unemployment rate is just at 4.5%. That was of the April statistics in 2025. And that kind of means that most people who want to work are already working. It's leaving employers struggling to fill open positions. And right now, our job openings currently outpace unemployed individuals 2 to 1. And it's especially tough in industries with high turnover like retail, hospitality, and seasonal work. And, we're only growing here. We're facing a projected worker shortfall of over 5,000 people in the next 5 years. And then you can add to that our aging workforce. 25% of the workers are age 55 plus, and we need to start preparing for their waves of retirement. I mean, it's going to be coming sooner rather than later. And if we don't act now, businesses will even face, more hiring challenges than they currently have. So strategically, fair chance hiring is proactive. And, it's about recognizing people that are already in our communities and building inclusive and alternative pipelines to fill these critical gaps. All right, sadly, our justice system does not impact everyone equally. So another benefit to fair chance hiring is that it does champion workplace belonging. Black and Latino men are far more likely to be incarcerated, oftentimes for the same behaviors that don't result in incarceration for others. So when we exclude people with records, we're often excluding communities of color, and we're further reinforcing racial and economic inequalities. So when employers hire justice impacted individuals, they're really making a powerful statement saying that you belong here and your past doesn't define you. Next. Okay, so another benefit of fair chance hiring is it does have a positive community impact. So, when we talk about fair chance hiring, we're also talking about public safety and economic impact. Each time someone ends up back in prison, it costs society an estimated $150,000, and that includes taxpayer money, victim costs, and indirect losses. Um, and also in Colorado, it costs around $61,000 per year to incarcerate someone. So that means that it's more than the average tuition at a private university. So helping someone stay employed, helping them have a meaningful way of living is one of the most effective ways to reduce recidivism. And it helps keeps down costs on public systems, it improves community safety, and it stabilizes families. So really think about it. Would you rather spend $61,000 to keep someone locked up or put them on a path to earning and contributing to the community and building a future? So one of the main advantages, I guess, by fiscally, if that's what you want to think of it, is the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, or WOTC. And this is a federal incentive that offers up to $2,400 per eligible employer or per eligible hire when you employ someone from a targeted group, including individuals with a criminal record. It's not just for big corporations. Private businesses of all sizes can also use this program. So how it works is that the employee must be hired within 1 year of their release or conviction. They must work at least 120 hours. You and the employee fill out IRS Form 8850, and then you just submit that form to your state's workforce agency within 28 days of the start date. And a really good best practice that I think all employers could do is just add this form to your onboarding or new hire documentation. Just because the WOTC is available not only for those with a background, but also those who have other barriers to employment, such as they could be on SNAP or get TANF. So it's really nice to just kind of add this to your onboarding document and have it voluntary for your employees to fill out. Okay, so if you're open to giving someone a second chance, but worried about the risk, which that's completely normal, then this is a good program for you. The federal bonding program is a free insurance program that protects businesses that hire individuals who are seen at risk, and that's including justice-involved youth and adults. So this bonding program isn't just for full-time roles. It covers any type of job. So if it's full-time, part-time, or temporary, and it also, since it's federal, you can use it in any state. So if you are an employer who have employees in multiple states, this really provides maximum flexibility across states and across industries. So what does this do? It basically insures you against potential losses for things like theft, forgery, larceny, or embezzlement. And you can get up to $5,000 per employee and up to $25,000 for a group of 5. The bond lasts for 6 months, and it can be renewed for another 6 months if you need. There's no cost, no red tape. It's really a powerful tool to help reduce risk aversion. So for employers who are really serious about fair chance hiring and want to do the right thing, but they're hesitant because of liability concerns, this would be a really good program to offer you some peace of mind. Okay, so now what we want to do is move on to some myths surrounding hiring people with a justice background. So go to the next. So, fair chance hiring, as I just went through, it does have some clear benefits. So it's totally normal that you might have some concerns as well, though. But before we go into facts and really address some very, I guess, popular or common myths, what are some worries or hesitations that you might have with your team for hiring someone with a record? So you can unmute yourself or you can write it in chat, but is there anything that, you guys think about when you think about hiring someone with a background? Any concerns? Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and we'll walk through some common myths and look at what the data actually shows. So, the first myth that we're going to talk about is lower reliability and more turnover. So, we always hear people maybe with criminal records are unreliable. They'll miss work, they're going to quit suddenly, they're going to create instability in the team. But again, in reality, the opposite is actually true. Justice impacted employees often show higher retention rates. Why? Because they deeply value the opportunity to work and contribute. Their sense of gratitude and loyalty often translates into stronger commitment, less job hopping, and higher day-to-day reliability. A great example of this is Nehemiah Manufacturing. They are a company that has basically made fair chance hiring a core part of their business. So over the past 10 years, they've maintained a 15% turnover rate, which in manufacturing, the norm is closer to 40%. So it's really created a kind of stability that speaks volumes that, when the company will invest in second chances, they just don't do the right thing, but they gain employees who stay longer, work harder, and align with company values. So, another common concern is that employees with a criminal record won't perform well on the job. But again, the evidence speaks differently and tells a different story. So a landmark study of 1.3 million US military enlistees, this was like the largest of its kind, found that individuals with a criminal record were actually promoted more quickly, reached higher ranks, and had a faster pay trajectory than those with a record. Why? The research suggests that this group often has a strong drive to prove themselves and a deep appreciation for the opportunity they've been given. That translates into higher motivation, commitment, and performance on the job. So rather than being a risk to productivity, fair chance hires can be a real asset to your team and in many cases outperform their peers. Okay. One of the most common and deeply rooted fears around fair chance hiring is the idea that individuals with criminal records pose a greater risk in the workplace. But the reality, the data simply doesn't support that fear. So a 5-year study conducted at Johns Hopkins followed justice-impacted individuals hired into roles, including many with serious convictions. What they found was telling. 92% of those hires remained employed, and only one person was involuntarily terminated during the entire period. And let's also address the legal concern of negligent hiring. Employers often worry they could face liability if something goes wrong. But a comprehensive study covering nearly 50 years from 1974 to 2022 found only 435 cases where an employer was held liable for negligent hiring. That averages to just 9 cases per year nationwide. So to put that into perspective, tens of millions of hires happen every year. So the risk is exceptionally rare. The takeaway, fair chance hiring does not create a safety risk. In fact, with the right support and structure, These employees can bring high levels of loyalty and performance, and the fear of liability is largely overstated. Okay, another common myth is that fair chance hiring might upset your current team. But according to a 2022 Indeed survey titled Workers Actively Want Employers to Engage in Fair Chance Hiring, 92% of employees are comfortable working with someone who has a criminal record. 91% believe offering fair job opportunities is essential to society. 73% prefer working for a fair chance employer, and 74% of managers and a remarkable 86% of HR professionals are open to hiring people with records. So this tells us that the workforce is not only ready, but they actually expect this kind of inclusive practice. So instead of worrying that this could hurt your culture, think of it as a way to maybe strengthen it. Fair chance hiring aligns with the values of your current employees and the talent and the talent you want to attract. Okay, so another common myth is that fair chance hiring could alienate customers and hurt your company image. Well, let's talk about a brand you might know, and that is Dave's Killer Bread. So I know I buy it all the time at King Supers. I love Dave's Killer Bread. It's a nationally recognized organic bread company, and it's really built its entire business on fair chance hiring. So over 1/3 of its workforce has a criminal background, and the founder, David Dahl, himself returned to the bakery after serving 15 years in prison. So his return sparked a transformation that really turned his struggling bakery into a national powerhouse. So Dave's Killer Bread proves that people deserve second chances and that those chances can lead to incredible loyalty, performance, and company growth. They even have launched a foundation, Dave Killer's Bread Foundation, to advocate for second chance employment nationally, helping other companies to follow their lead. Okay, so a lot of people think that it is illegal to hire someone with a criminal record. But let's be clear, that's not true. In fact, federal and state laws encourage fair and individualized consideration of candidates. In Colorado, we have the Ban the Box Law, or the Colorado Chance to Compete Act, which was put into effect in 2019. And this prohibits private employers from asking about criminal history on the initial job application or including language in job postings that discourages individuals with records from applying. And at the federal level, we have the Equal Opportunity Commission, or EEOC, and that allows employers to consider criminal records, but only after determining whether the record is relevant to the job. I'll talk more about this later, about the specific criteria known as the green factor, but the bottom line is it's just not legal. It's not just legal to hire someone with a record. It's a best practice when done fairly, and it's supported by both state and federal law. So those are the kind of the myths that, we've talked about or we've gone over, but is there anybody have any thoughts or comments on any of those, or some that maybe we haven't thought about? And feel free to put it in the chat or unmute yourself.
I think I was just going to add that I think sometimes so many HR policies and rules get passed at the state legislature. It's good to have these reminders and to know for sure and when these things were enacted, because it's hard to keep up, right, with all these opportunities that are out there.
Mm-hmm. So someone put this slide basically indicates that it's illegal to discriminate against people with a criminal background. I think that, one way to say it, it's not illegal to discriminate against someone with a criminal background, but many times, as I spoke earlier in the presentation, people with a background are generally coming from communities of color, and that is just, illegal to discriminate in that sense. If you're discriminating against someone's, background, race, gender, so on and so forth. Um, but ideally, it's as a company, you still want to do what is best for your company, but I'll kind of go into that a little bit more, that any kind of blanket exclusion, it may violate or discriminate, but there are ways in which you can, work to find what works best for your company. Okay, so with that said, we'll move on to the HR best practices. So now we're going to start here. If you are interested in becoming a fair chance employer, and if you are, wanting to know what would I need to do, what's the best way to go about it? Can there be baby steps? What does this look like? So this is kind of what we're going to go through now. But basically, if you're committed to fair chance hiring, it is important to make clear and make a statement. So start with how you present your company. You can say things like, we ban the box. We welcome applicants of diverse backgrounds, including those with criminal histories. We conduct background checks, and any record will be reviewed on an individual basis. So those are all statements that you can put in your job descriptions that you post online. So those simple statements can say that you are basically open and inclusive and serious about equity. Also be intentional about where you post your jobs. Use fair chance hiring boards, like Honest Jobs is a really good one. And finally, you can partner with a local reentry program like Homeward Alliance to help you source candidates and prepare them for success and provide ongoing support. Okay, so now when you're interviewing candidates with criminal records, one goal you want to focus on, the goal is to focus on what matters most. So you want to talk about skills, experience, and potential. So keep these tips in mind. So look at what the person has done, including skills or training that they may have gained while incarcerated. Avoid digging into employment gaps. These can unfairly disadvantage someone who's already overcome barriers. If the record comes up, don't react with surprise or judgment. You can say something like, thank you for telling me. We're committed to fair hiring. There's no need to go into details unless you'd like to share how it prepared you for this role. And since we are Colorado, ban the box, remind the candidate that we don't ask about criminal convictions here. We focus on your ability to do the job. And above all, be mindful when you are interviewing. Be mindful of your own biases. Interviewing fairly is about respect, consistency, and opportunity. Okay, so let's talk about background checks. Are they necessary? I think that's a big question. Sometimes yes, but they must be handled carefully and fairly. So first, when you are doing background checks, know the difference between arrest and a conviction. Arrests are not a proof of guilt. Many don't even lead to charges and are dismissed. So focus only on convictions, and even then, only when they are relevant to the job. So under Title VII, misusing background checks can result in discrimination, especially, as I mentioned, since people of color are often more disproportionately impacted by the justice system. So overly broad or inconsistent screenings can unintentionally exclude qualified candidates and raise legal concerns. So the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or FCRA, gives candidates rights if you use a third-party background check. So some best practices, if you're doing background checks, you need to get written permission first. And if the report influences your hiring decision, the person has a right to review and dispute the results before you make a final call. And another best practice to really think about is limit your look back period to the past 7 years, especially for most roles. This is a common industry standards. It aligns with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And it also, ensures that you are keeping with common industry standards. Also, only consider convictions relevant to the job, keep the results private, and do an individualized assessment. So taking into account the nature of the offense, how long ago it happened, and the responsibilities of the job. These steps ensure you're protecting your company, complying with the law, and giving people a fair chance. So how many of you all do background checks currently? Do you do them, Yvonne?
We don't at the chamber, but I worked at Callaway Health Systems for 38 years, and we were mandated by federal regulations to do background
Okay.
checks. So
All right. Yes. And that makes sense, especially in healthcare. And I think some industries are going to have more robust background checks, anything probably working with more, what do I want to say, more delicate, if you're working with people in the hospital or working with elderly or children, especially that's important.
But I was going to share real quick. Suddenly, we had a lot of our younger staff had minor in possession, right? So they were someplace, they had a beer in their hand, whatever it might be, and now they're, college students, college graduates who this still is showing up, and we had to really make some real clear decisions that we weren't going to let that affect that. That was just a youthful thing that happened because right away the line was 0, right? And so we had
Exactly.
so we had to adjust to MIPs, something new that we didn't even know was in the marketplace, and it became a thing. And so we had to adjust to that.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good way. I mean, utilizing, making sure that whatever their background was relates to the job. Because it didn't really relate to the job that they were going to do. And actually with the new Colorado Chance to Compete, we have something going into effect in July of 2025. So this month where you can actually have those hidden from your background, and companies are not going to be able to consider those when they're doing background checks. Any other questions or comments about background checks? All right. Okay, so let's move on to green factors. So I've alluded to green factors in other slides. And this is really what we're talking about when we're talking about individualized assessment. So this is really a best practice for reviewing a candidate's criminal history. So green factors actually comes from a landmark case, Green versus Missouri Pacific Railroad, and they're really central to EEOC guidance. They help employers determine whether a conviction is truly relevant to the job. So when you're thinking about green factors, first thing you want to think about is the nature and the gravity of the offense. So what happened? Was it violent or nonviolent? A misdemeanor, felony? For example, if someone had a nonviolent drug offense, it's definitely not as concerning for them to work a customer service role as opposed to someone who may have had a violent charge. You also want to consider the time since the offense or the completion of the sentence. So has the person shown stability over time? Research shows that after just a few years without new offenses, the risk of reoffending drops significantly. And finally, you want to talk about the nature of the job. So does the offense relate directly to the role's duty? So minor in possession doesn't necessarily relate to working in the healthcare system. But a theft conviction may matter more in a finance job than in a back of the house warehouse position. Applying these three factors allows you to make individualized assessments. So these are not only EEOC compliant, but they are also fair, reasonable, and tailored to your business need. So this is kind of one thing too that Claire will talk about as well, but we can help you as a company kind of sit down and go through these and figure out how that would best work for your organization. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Claire, and she is going to talk a little bit about what a partnership with Homeward Alliance is going to look like.
Yeah, thanks, Mindy. Real quick though, I am going to present a video too to really highlight your power in really helping so many individuals with criminal backgrounds as employers. So real quick, I'm going to try and show this. All right. Okay. I really love that video, so appreciate y'all watching it. So now that we've explored some HR best practices and the value of fair chance hiring, I want to introduce a way your business can partner with Homeward Alliance, and that is by connecting with individuals through our reentry program as well as our earn program. So these programs connect employers with job seekers who are navigating barriers, such as being justice involved or maybe facing housing instability, and who are motivated, capable, and ready to get back to work. So partnering with us can be a win for your business, a life-changing opportunity for an individual, and a powerful step toward a stronger and more inclusive workforce. So just to give some more context into these programs, I'll start with reentry. So our reentry program is built on the WAGES grant, which stands for Work and Gain Education and Employment Skills. And yeah, we exist to support individuals transitioning out of incarceration, out of DOC, Department of Corrections. And thanks to this grant, participants receive up to 1 full year of case management. And that means personalized, ongoing guidance and access to the resources they need to stabilize and succeed as they re-enter society. So we make it a priority to connect with other agencies in the community to provide as much support as possible from housing and healthcare to mental health services and more. And while we take a holistic approach to provide support, our program primarily focuses on job readiness. So we really help participants develop the skills, confidence, and access the tools they need to re-enter the workforce and thrive in long-term employment. And by supporting people as they rebuild their lives, we help to reduce recidivism and create pathways to lasting change. And we have the EARN program, which stands for Employment and Resource Navigation. So within this program, we support anyone facing any type of barrier to employment, whether those challenges are related to housing instability or individuals fleeing domestic violence. This could include people that are not leaving Department of Corrections, but they are still living at the halfway house, or they're on probation or something along those lines. And our goal in this program is to walk alongside these participants as they work toward stability. So we offer regular one-on-one support and continue meeting with folks until they've reached stable employment. So whether someone needs help with resumes, job applications, interview prep, or navigating community resources, we're available every step of the way. So both the reentry program and the EARN program offer a wide range of resources to ensure that participants are fully prepared, supported, and confident as they step back into the workforce. So the first thing we provide is job readiness training. So this includes soft skills development, understanding workplace expectations, and even industry-specific training as needed, as we can. So participants walk in not only motivated, but are really prepared to thrive in a professional environment. Some of that also includes like resumes and cover letters and going through online applications and things along those lines. We also supply work materials and equipment. That could be PPE, it could be tools, it could be scrubs, or any type of other job-specific supplies. We really want to make sure that our participants have what they need on day one in order to be ready for the job. We also help with professional attire to make sure our participants are ready and are also making a strong first impression. So this could include interview outfits, work-appropriate clothing, gear, tools, things along those lines, kind of whatever they need in that area where we have a budget and are able to provide support in that area. We also offer transportation assistance. So first and foremost, we're helping our participants learn the local bus system, which in Fort Collins is free, which I'm really, really thankful for. But in addition to that, we're helping people access bikes, sometimes even e-bikes, and we're also helping them get their driver's license. We're also helping people with gas cards as needed, at least until they get their first job or their first paycheck, just so that they can really, truly get to work reliably. We're also helping with identification acquisition, including state IDs, birth certificates, driver's licenses, which really removes a common barrier that individuals are experiencing that prevents employment. And this next point applies predominantly for reentry, but we can help in EARN too. But for those who are looking to deepen their skills, we offer vocational training cost assistance. So we help people access trainings for certifications like forklift or OSHA or maybe CPR. We also have connections to CDL training if somebody wants to pursue, driving a truck as a way of accessing employment. We just do whatever we possibly can to get them into that training to help them on their path toward a career. And importantly, and lastly, I have listed here, we offer ongoing support that continues after someone is hired, before and after. So we're offering job coaching, general mentorship, and employer mediation for up to 6 months, sometimes even a full year, especially with reentry. And we're really just here to make sure that both the employee and employer are supported in every step of the way. So let's talk about why this partnership could be so valuable, not just for the community, but for your business. So first and foremost, you'll gain access to motivated pre-screened talent for free. Our participants aren't just looking for any type of job or any job. They're committed to rebuilding their lives through stable, meaningful employment. And we're often screening them sometimes before they even enter the program. And then we will do a secondary screening 3 to 4 weeks after engagement to evaluate their readiness and alignment with an employer we're partnered with. So by the time we would refer someone to you, we've already been working closely with them and are confident that they have the skills they need to succeed in the workplace at your business. Second, this partnership helps reduce turnover by hiring these employees who are very dedicated and also resilient. So they're supported every step of the way through mindset coaching, skill development, and general case management. And this can lead to higher job retention and stability for your team. They, like I said earlier, they really don't take this opportunity for granted. This could be a really life-changing moment and help them toward greater stability, which is huge. A third benefit is your business can strengthen its community impact and brand reputation. By offering a second chance to someone ready to make a change, you're making a meaningful difference in their lives. And today's consumers or clients and even job seekers increasingly value businesses that are socially responsible. So this is an opportunity to lead with purpose and be recognized as an employer that gives back to its community in a really profound way. And the last benefit I have listed here is that you're not going to be doing this alone, or at least you don't have to. Myself, Mindy, and our case managers are here to support you for matching candidates and preparing them for interviews, to onboarding, and ongoing retention support. We'll be by your side to ensure that every placement is set up for long-term success. So now I want to take another step into looking a little deeper at what this partnership would actually look like in practice. So the first thing I have in mind, what I would like is for you to share your job openings or your hiring needs, and we'll work to match those roles with participants who are a strong fit. So we'll take into account both qualifications and readiness to ensure that you're meeting candidates who are already motivated and prepared. We also offer, as Mindy highlighted earlier, that we can offer support with background checks. We understand that every business has unique requirements, and we can help you tailor your screening process to better reflect that, moving away from blanket rejections toward a meaningful, more thoughtful case-by-case approach. Next, we can also help you take advantage of hiring incentives such as the work opportunity tax credit and the federal bonding program. These programs are designed to reduce risk and increase benefits for you as the employer. And we'll walk you through how to access them, how to fill them out. Mindy and I have contacts with the Colorado Department of Labor who you submitted to, so we can ensure that it's been received and it's accurate and it's being processed. So you can really access those tax credits, which can be really helpful. It definitely adds up. And then once someone is hired, we can continue to offer ongoing support. Our team can stay connected with you and the participant to ensure the placement is going smoothly. And if there's anything that we can help out at, if there's any concerns you may have, we can address them really, really quickly. And finally, if it would be beneficial, Mindy and I would be happy to visit your business, either in person or virtually, to talk more about how Fair Chance Hiring can align with your company's goals. We can even provide a follow-up presentation for your leadership or other parts of your team to build a shared understanding and buy-in, and to really kind of craft a partnership based off what works best for your business. So that is all for us today. I hope you learned a little bit more about Fair Chance Hiring. If you have any other questions for us, feel free to reach out. Of course, if you're interested in connecting with us further in terms of exploring partnerships, please reach out. Here is our contact information.
So in the chat, yes, we will. The chamber will send out the slides and then also a copy of the recording. It'll all be on our website too at the chamber for about 6 months. And then this video is on our YouTube channel as well. So I know I learned a lot. Negligent hiring wasn't language that I knew about, and the green factor. So that was super helpful. So I feel like I'm in the know about new hiring practices, which is great. I did want to share that we have a great follow-up on July 22nd. So we do these the 4th Tuesday. There are 5 Tuesdays in July, so don't think the 29th, think the 22nd. And we actually have Madison, and you may know her at the state. Madison, YTTER.
I know her. Yes, she's
Yes.
awesome.
So she's gonna, her title of her presentation is Supporting Inclusive Hiring, the Work Opportunity Tax Credit and Federal Bonding. So
Oh, fantastic.
we time these together. So please join us on July 22nd, same sort of situation, 11 to 12. If you can't make it, just sign up for it because we'll send you the information for sure. But she's going to talk more about that tax credit and that bonding process. So she'll go even deeper, even though these ladies did an amazing job. So lots of thank yous on the chat. So we're super excited. Thanks for presenting this topic. Thanks for working with this population and advocating for them and helping the rest of us to be more inclusive in our hiring practices. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Yvonne. Thanks everyone for showing up too. Appreciate all your time.
Mhm.